So the fact that it was Ringo didn't scare you off? You didn't think, oh, no, we'll never get Ringo?
No, because the voice was like what I've been waiting for all along. Just this great storytelling voice that could reach everybody. I mean, that was so important to me, that, you know, these stories could be told in a way that it wouldn't matter who this kid was or where this kid was or what the, you know, economic situation or anything else was. They could connect. It would be a great storyteller. And for all sorts of reasons. That quality of his voice and the Liverpudlian accent, and it was it. And so, honestly, Rod, I've always gone, and if I ever, you know, give little speeches or whatever, I say, it's no good just thinking it, or like Nike, I guess, said, you know, you've got to do it. You've got to try, and then you'll never regret.
So how did you convince him to do it? How did that come about?
Well, I wrote a letter. I mean, at that time it wasn't emails. I think what happened very quickly, I think I contacted someone and I said I need to get in touch. And for some reason, quite surprisingly actually, they gave me his office's address. And I wrote this letter, which I still got, of course. And about a week later, the lady who was then his assistant and had been with him since the days of the band, she called me up and she said, you know, he liked your letter. Do you want to come and see him? And this...
Were you a Beatles fan?
What?
Were you a Beatles fan? Had you been a Beatles fan?
Well, actually, not wildly so. I mean, of course I listened to the music.
Yeah, of course.
And there were some songs I really loved, but it was about his voice. That's what I fell in love with. And at that time, it must have been, John Lennon was killed in 80, right?
Yes.
So I think it was 81. It was really soon afterwards. And Ringo was living in John's old house. And, you know, which was heavily guarded and all that. And I will never forget going into the room. There he was. And he said to me, and I won't embarrass myself and everybody else
by doing the accent.
Do his accent.
Yes.
But he said, "Why me, Britt?" And I said, "Because you've got this great storytelling voice." So he said, "It's not the band." I said, "Well, the band's like icing on a cake, but it's not the reason why I want you to do this." And I will always, what's the word? I will always feel such affection for him, because at that moment, I said to him, it's my instinct. I just feel you're going to be wonderful, and everybody will love you. And he said, well, you better find out if your instinct's right. And he said, have you got, and at that time it was just, you know, the little books. I don't think at that time I'd even started to write a screenplay, you know, for the film. And he said, give me this. He said, I'll send you a tape. And so about 2 weeks after that, this tape arrived, and this is, you know, really precious, if you can imagine.
Oh, yes.
And there was this little message, and him reading, I think he read it all. He read the story Down the Mine, which actually became our pilot. I mean, that was the first story that we filmed. And
it was everything you thought it would be, obviously.
Yeah. You felt and it was wonderful working with him, because we recorded the first 26 out of, he had a recording studio where he was then living in John's old house. And his audio engineer, who I'm still closely in touch with, Mike O'Donnell, ended up with his partner, Junior Campbell, writing the music and writing that theme song that you just played a little bit of.
Yeah.
But Ringo was just great to work with, because he does have this, you know, complete, what's it called, like photo memory or whatever. Anyway, he would say, Britt, what do you want? Read the first, you know, Thomas of the Tank Engine with, etc., as if you were reading this to your kid. And then you would say, stop. Okay, I'm going to do it. And that's how we worked. So we got exactly what was in my mind in terms of the way to tell the stories, but we got his wonderful version of it.
Yeah, and it certainly it struck at the right note, you know, for all involved, I'm sure. Do you still keep in touch at all, Britt, with Ringo? Or?
I haven't seen him I haven't seen him or heard from him actually for some years. I mean, there's been an exchange of cards every now and then. But of course, what was also great when it clearly, you know, became a big hit in the UK and it was all very personal, Ross, you know, because like bringing it to Australia was really personal. You know, we brought the kids over and we went round to see everybody because it was like a little cottage industry.
Yeah, yeah.
But going back to, I mean, I started getting phone calls from the States that heard about this, but it was like, it could have been put out really early in the morning and I'd have lost control over it. And then someone who became another wonderful collaborator for me, Rick Sigelko, was working at a public broadcasting station here in the States called WNET in New York. And together we created a show called Shining Time Station, which itself became really popular.
Yeah, yeah.
Created this character, Mr. Conductor. And Ringo agreed to come over and actually be Mr. Conductor in that first season.
Wasn't that fantastic? Britt, we are fast running out of time, but you haven't been involved for a few years now. Do you miss it?
Of course I miss it. I do miss it. At the same time, I stay really in touch with the kids who write to me or parents who write to me, and that is just great, and I love all that.
Yeah.
But you know, so things move on. But my passion for kids and for nurturing little children through storytelling, that is still a big part of my life.
Well, I hope you get a chance on the 25th anniversary to spend a bit of time reminiscing, Britt, if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for taking our call. Good luck. I know you've got a few other ventures underway at the moment, so good luck with those. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Britt.
Thank you. And I love Australia. I've been to Australia 5 times, so hi to everybody.
And I can tell you, Australians loved you and they loved Thomas very, very much. And still do. Britt, thank you so much, Britt.